Imagine being in an argument where no matter what the other person says or does, you remain calm, collected, and in control. Within minutes, their wrath, perplexity, or pride starts to fade away. What if I told you that only 5 questions can do it? This video will teach you 5 strong Stoic questions that will end disagreements, uncover the truth, and keep your mind at ease. These inquiries, which are based on Stoic philosophy, make things clear when they are chaotic. Stay with me, and at the end you'll know exactly how to deal with any heated conversation with calm reason and authority. Question number 1. What do you mean by that? The first question is easy but very hard. Instead of becoming angry when someone attacks, criticizes, or accuses you, calmly inquire, what do you mean by that? When people dispute, they usually use ambiguous or emotionally laden words. They use words like selfish, unfair, or wrong without explaining what they mean. This inquiry makes people think about what they truly mean, and most of the time they realize they don't even know. This method is based on Socratic inquiry, which is how Socrates used to break down erroneous statements without becoming angry. Socrates never said he knew everything. He only raised questions that made other people confused. When you ask for clarity, you show them how weak their rationale is. Epictetus said, "A man can't learn what he thinks he already knows." This question shows that kind of attitude. When people have to explain their argument, they either calm down and think about it or fall apart because they don't know what they mean. Don't respond the next time someone attempts to get you mad. Just look at them and say, "What do you mean?" See how their confidence starts to evaporate. When you say, "What do you mean by that?" you are doing something amazing by making the argument slow down. Most individuals dispute quickly because they are angry, proud, or want to be correct. They say things faster than they think. But just one question stops things. It stops the turmoil, shows the gaps, and brings the conversation back to reason. Think about what normally happens when people fight. Someone says, "You're selfish," or "You don't care about anyone but yourself." People naturally want to defend themselves, argue back, or launch a counterattack. But all of that makes it worse. When you simply say, "What do you mean by that?" Instead, you take the passion out of the air. You're not saying yes or no. You're just asking for more information. That one change from reacting to thinking changes the power balance dramatically in your favor. Socrates knew this a long time ago. He understood that most people aren't motivated by the truth, but by opinions that pretend to be facts. He didn't strive to win an argument. He made them think too much. Socrates meets a man in Plato's Euthyphro who says he knows what holiness is. But after a few calm queries like, "What do you mean by holiness?" Euthyphro learns he can't even identify the same thing he was so convinced about when he asks, "Is everything that the gods love holy? Or do the gods love what is holy?" The argument fails, not because Socrates attacked, but because he made things clearer. In real life, this question achieves the same thing. It shines a light on where individuals hide when they are feeling bad. It makes people face their own lack of clarity. And when someone realizes they can't explain what they said, their anger starts to fade. When they start to stumble, stop and consider, you know you've won. Epictetus would say that this is the practice of using reason instead of reacting. He stated, "If someone gets you angry, know that your mind is also to blame." Meaning it's not the insult that hurts you, it's how you react to it. You take control of your response, which is something Stoicism tells you to constantly guard by asking, "What do you mean by that?" You separate yourself from your feelings and steer the argument toward understanding instead of emotional warfare. Seneca also said that judging people too quickly can be bad. He remarked in Letters from a Stoic, "We are more often scared than hurt, and we suffer more from what we think than from what is real." The same goes for arguments. We respond to what we think the other person means, not what they really mean. This question takes away that risk. It needs reality instead than guesswork. You aren't responding to what you think they said. Instead, you're gently asking what they really meant. Marcus Aurelius even practiced this mental discipline. In Meditations, he said, "Be strict with yourself and lenient with others. You show that you understand the lesson when you ask for further information. You control how you react, while also giving the other person room to say what they mean. You turn conflict into a test." This question is strong because it stops emotional momentum. When people are angry, they argue best. But as soon as you start asking them questions that make sense, their adrenaline goes down, their confidence goes down, and they start to see that their argument isn't as strong as they believed. It's not you who's attacking them. It's their own doubt that's doing the work. They'll often stop, change their mind, or even tone down their voice. They could say, "Well, I just mean that you don't always listen," or "I mean I felt like you weren't paying attention. Look at what happened there." You turned a vague claim into a clear problem. And once things are clear, a solution is conceivable. The talk goes from fighting to understanding. This question also shows that you are emotionally intelligent. Instead of trying to win, you're showing that you care more about comprehending than being in charge. You don't have to hurt the other person. You simply have to bring the truth to light. That's the main idea behind Stoicism, making things clear instead of chaotic. So the next time someone attacks you, whether it's a co-worker, a partner, or a stranger, take a deep breath. Don't allow your rage control you. Look at them calmly like a Stoic and say, "What do you mean by that?" Then don't say anything. Keep your eyes on them. Hold on. Let the quiet do its job. The truth is that quiet backed by reason is louder than any viewpoint that is shouted. And when you can stay calm while others lose their cool, you don't only win the fight, you also learn to control yourself. Marcus Aurelius would say that this is victory over the self, and that's the only win that really matters. Question number 2. How do you know that's true? Without proof, confidence doesn't mean anything. This second inquiry is a very logical one. How do you know that's true? People often regurgitate what they've heard, think that sentiments are facts, or mistake opinions for facts when they argue. By asking this question, you make people think about why they believe what they do. Their argument falls apart if they can't explain why they believe something is true. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact." He said this to warn people not to believe everything they hear. Everything we perceive is a point of view, not the truth. This inquiry reminds both you and the other person that truth needs proof, not feelings. This question also helps you stay calm. You're not attacking. You're looking into things. The Stoics thought that reason should show the truth, not fighting over it. Epictetus once stated, "People who are well-grounded in life don't need to look for approval from others. You don't have to prove them wrong. All you have to do is show them that they are unsure." So the next time someone makes a big claim without any proof, stop, take a breath, and ask, "How do you know that's true?" Watch as the fire in their fight turns to smoke. When you say, "How do you know that's true?" you aren't questioning the person. You're questioning the idea that feeling is proof. This question cuts through arrogance because it makes the other person stop and really think about where their beliefs come from. And that's where most fights start to break down. People often quarrel based on feelings, rumors, or pride, not facts. They say things such, "Everyone knows this, I just feel that way," or "I saw it online," but none of that is proof. You take away the illusion of certainty and show if their opinions are based on fact or just feelings when you gently ask them how they know. Socrates utilized this strategy all the time. He would always take someone's allegation and break it down with questions. Socrates would inquire, "What makes something good?" If a guy responded, "This is good," Socrates would inquire, "What do you mean by benefit?" If the man responded, "Because it helps people." Eventually, the whole belief would have to stand on its own or fall apart through a series of how and why questions. That's what "how do you know that's true" means. It requires the truth to be bare, without the help of ego or feeling. It doesn't insult. It asks you to think. It doesn't use force to destroy. It uses light. Marcus Aurelius was the best at understanding this. In Meditations, he said, "If someone can show me where I'm wrong and how I made a mistake in any thought or action, I will gladly change. I look for the truth, which has never hurt anyone." The willingness to question is what makes someone wise. When you ask someone how they know something is true, you're not just testing them. You're also testing yourself. You're not making assumptions. You're making your own thoughts fit with what really is. Epictetus also told his students that they had to use reason to test all of their beliefs. He remarked, "There are 4 types of appearances. Things are as they seem to be. Things are not as they seem to be. Things are and do not seem to be, or things are not, and yet seem to be." To put it another way, what seems true isn't always true, and it's the philosopher's job to tell the difference between what seems true and what is true. This question lets you achieve just that. Seneca also said this when he told people not to believe what everyone else thought. He stated, "The crowd is proof that something is not true. People say the same thing over and over again doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to go along with what everyone else says when you calmly ask, how do you know that's true? You want reason, not repetition. And this is where the Stoic discipline really shines. You're not asking this question out of anger. You're asking it with control. Your voice stays calm. Your face stays blank. You don't want to win or make the other person look stupid. You're just standing in the light of the truth. When you keep calm like this, the other person often starts to feel the heat. They might start to stumble, change their minds, or get upset because they have to defend something they never really thought about. This inquiry is also a reflection. It makes you think about how sure you are. How often do we say things just because we've heard them before, or because we feel like they are true? Before a Stoic mind utilizes this question on the outside, it employs it on the inside. Before you blame someone else for their logic, take responsibility for your own. When someone replies your inquiry with rage or tries to change the subject, like, you're just twisting words, or it's obvious, just stay still. Their defensiveness shows that they don't have a good reason to be angry. Marcus Aurelius remarked, the best way to deal with anger is to be quiet. Use that quiet time to your advantage. It's the quiet of someone who doesn't need to prove anything, the quiet of someone who is grounded in reason. This question also has a hidden power. It puts the obligation back on them. Now they have to back up their bold claim. You've put the burden of proof on them, and they know it. What used to be their weapon is now their vulnerability. They have to either explain or back down. This question becomes a tool for more than just arguing over time. It makes you better at figuring things out. You start to see how much of what people say in the news, in relationships, and on social media is empty, reactive, and not backed up by facts. You stop letting emotional noise get to you and start looking at reality through calm rationality. So the next time someone tells you a fact, stop. Don't do anything. Don't fight. Take a deep breath and ask, how do you know that's true? Then let the silence take over. See how their confidence fades, their words slow down, and their feelings fade. Lies are the only things that are afraid of inquiries. And if you live by reason, the cacophony of the illogical won't bother you. Question number 3. What would change your mind? This question is one of the best things you can ask in a conversation or dispute, since it measures how honest, mature, and open-minded you are. You can tell right away if the person you're talking to is really trying to understand or just defending their ego when you gently ask, what would change your mind? You know you're dealing with a thinker if they answer intelligently and refer to particular data, reasoning, or outcomes that could change their mind. This is a person who values truth over pride and knows that information is always changing. But if they say nothing or act hostile, you've found a wall. A mind that isn't open because of reason, but because of devotion to identity or status. This is exactly where you need to use Stoic discernment. Trying to change someone's opinion is a waste of time and can even make you less peaceful. Seneca writes in his letters that a wise man is better than any insults that can be thrown at him. And the best way to deal with bad behavior is to be patient and moderate. You don't fight for power when you stay calm. You don't let your emotions get the best of you, which shows how emotionally rigid the other person is. The Stoic philosophy posits that the objective is not to subjugate others, but to preserve one's own rational equanimity. This question has two purposes. It shows you what the other person is thinking and what you are thinking. You have to look at yourself and ask, what would change my mind? Marcus Aurelius was always having this conversation with himself. He reminded himself in meditations, if someone can show me that I'm wrong, I'll be happy to change. I look for the truth, which has never hurt anyone. A Stoic uses this similar idea in their daily life, looking for proof instead of pride and reason, instead of impulse. When someone can't answer, they often get frustrated, not you. This is because the question puts the burden of evidence back on them. Their once absolute conviction is now shaken by reason. Epictetus says this eloquently in Enchiridion. A man cannot learn what he thinks he already knows. Being closed-minded is the enemy of understanding, and this question shows that right away. It makes people face the fact that their assumptions are not as strong as they think they are, without you having to criticize or insult them. This question also helps you stay out of your feelings. When people get into heated disagreements, their minds automatically react to attacks on their egos. which is a survival reflex that often makes things worse. But by asking this question calmly, you give them a break. The other person needs to pause and think, which will halt the flow of their emotional reasoning. During this break, you take back control of the conversation and steer it toward reason and clarity. Marcus Aurelius also stressed how important it is not to let other people's irrationality get to you. The best revenge is to be unlike the person who hurt you. In this case, revenge doesn't mean getting back at someone. It means keeping order inside when things are chaotic. You don't want to become involved in emotional drama when you ask, "What would change your mind?" And listen quietly. You don't have to show them they're wrong. All you have to do is let them show how stiff they are. This question has another deep effect. It changes the argument from a fight to a thought. When someone has to think about the reasons why they might be wrong, they usually start to slow down, think things through, and make sense of them. They might trip, stop, or get softer. Their ego fights back, but their brain starts to work. Even if they don't change their mind right away, the seed of critical thinking has been sown, which is enough to stop the immediate threat of an unreasonable fight. Discipline and calm are needed to use this question in real life. You don't raise your voice. You don't roll your eyes or groan in frustration. You look the individual in the eye and ask, "What would change your mind?" in a calm, sincere, and steady voice. Then you pay attention. Let the quiet do its job. Let the question itself show how flimsy their assurance is. This method does more than win debates over time. It helps you learn how to think. You learn to put evidence ahead of assumptions, logic ahead of impulses, and self-control ahead of the need to control others. Zeno of Citium, who started Stoicism, remarked, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen more than we talk." This question shows that wisdom. It makes you listen, both within and outside. What would change your mind? Turns a disagreement into a test of calmness, not knowledge. You don't fight the person anymore. You talk to them with reason. You don't fight your feelings. You learn to let go of them. And by doing this, you live up to the Stoic ideal, being immune to chaos based in truth and having inner serenity. The next time you get into a heated argument, remember that the goal is not to win, but to stay calm. Calmly ask, "What would change your mind?" And observe as the debate, which was once fueled by ego and instinct, fades away under the calm pressure of reason. That is what Stoicism can really do. Question number 4. Are you open to another perspective? This question changes the whole tone of the discourse. When you remark, "Are you open to another perspective?" you are not pushing your point of view. You are welcoming conversation. This makes people less defensive, and it indicates that they are mature and emotionally smart. People don't often listen when they feel like they're being assaulted. But when you pose this question, you go from fighting to working together. It's a beautiful Stoic maneuver to transform a possible fight into a chance to think. Epictetus stated, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we talk." This question shows that wisdom. It allows the other person space to breathe, ponder, and consider. And a lot of the time, that's all it takes to calm down a heated argument. It's not about proving someone wrong. It's about showing that knowledge doesn't have to be loud. It just makes people think more deeply. When you say, "Are you open to another point of view?" you're not just lightening the conversation. You're taking charge of it without being aggressive. You don't let the tension build. Instead, you give it a break so that reason may come in. At that point, the person can either stay angry or think about it. That little pause is often all it takes to completely change the course of the debate. Marcus Aurelius often thought about how important it is to look at things from many angles. He wrote in Meditations, "Before you criticize someone, ask yourself, what is the fault of mine that is most like the one I am about to criticize?" You show this wisdom by being open to other points of view. You're not only being open, but you're also discreetly encouraging the other person to think about themselves instead of just reacting to you. This question also stops fights that are based on pride. Pride, or the impulse to win or prove oneself correct, is what drives most fights. But if you gently ask them whether they are open to another point of view, you take away the need to be in charge. You are no longer trying to control the conversation. Instead, you are leading it to new ideas. The Stoics thought that reason was the most powerful thing, not noise or aggression. Seneca remarked, "The poor man is not the one who has too little, but the one who wants more." You can notice the similarity if you change crave more to crave being right. people who always want to be correct are intellectually poor. Their egos control them. When you pose this question, you give them a taste of freedom, the freedom to listen, think, and grow. This question changes the way people engage with one another on a psychological level. When you frame your approach as curiosity instead of confrontation, you make the other person less defensive. When the mind isn't being attacked, it naturally relaxes. And when you're relaxed, you can think clearly. You might even see that some people are humble and open in response, which wouldn't have happened if you had been confrontational with them. This question also helps you get better at being stoic. It reminds you that no one owns the truth, and that your job is not to impose it, but to find it. You work on self-control, patience, and temperance, which are all important Stoic characteristics. You learn to stay cool on the inside, so you can deal with disagreement without letting it get to you. If you keep adopting this method over time, it will change not only the way you argue, but also the way you think. People admire you not because you're loud, but because you're calm, thoughtful, and unshakable. You realize that reason, not force, is what gives you power. So the next time a heated argument looks like it's going to go out of hand, don't yell. Stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and calmly say, "Are you open to another point of view?" This simple inquiry may frequently calm people down, get them to think about things in a new way, and transform a possible fight into a chance to learn, understand, and gain wisdom. This is what Stoicism is all about. You stay calm, you encourage others to think, and the conversation goes from fighting to understanding. Question number 5. Why does this matter to you so much? The last question goes beyond logic. It gets to the heart of the conflict. When you say to someone, "Why do you care so much about this?" you're not aiming to beat them. You're attempting to get to know them. This question stops aggression because it displays understanding without giving in. It helps both you and your opponent figure out what really drives their argument, including fear, pride, uncertainty, or pain. And once you name the emotion, it stops controlling the discourse. Seneca said, "If we don't control our anger, it can hurt us more than the injury that caused it." A lot of the time, the person who is arguing with you isn't actually mad at you. They're just letting their own craziness out. When you question why it matters, you're bringing that hidden pain to light. This question also shows how well you know yourself. You're not trying to be the boss anymore. You're trying to help them comprehend. You're proving that real strength isn't about being stronger than others. It's about being able to stay kind while still being in charge. When you say, "Why does this matter to you so much?" you are changing the battleground from debate to awareness. Most arguments get worse because the feelings behind them aren't shown. People typically lash out when they are angry, scared, resentful, or insecure. By asking this question, you offer them a chance to say what they really want, which takes away the strength of the argument. Marcus Aurelius said that knowing how other people are is a way to find peace. In Meditations, he said, "When someone is about to make you mad, ask yourself, what is in their mind that makes them act this way?" This inquiry is an excellent example of that knowledge. It doesn't attack, it probes. It doesn't make things worse. It makes them clearer. When you ask them what made them feel that way, you turn the dispute into a conversation about understanding instead of power. Epictetus also said that what bothers us is how we see things, not the objects themselves. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Misunderstanding is what causes most disagreements. People view what someone says as a personal attack instead of a sign of their own inner struggle. When both sides ask why it matters, they may take a step back, see what the true problem is, and deal with it without getting angry. This question is quite disarming, since it makes people think about themselves. Even the most violent person may stop when asked nicely. Why? Because it demonstrates that you care about them as people and that you are not their enemy. You are making it possible for reason to take the place of fury and understanding to take the place of anger. Seneca warned of the hidden risk of unchecked anger. Anger, if not restrained, is more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. By asking this question, you are holding yourself back and helping others see how they are holding themselves back. Instead of being caught up in the maelstrom of emotional upheaval, you become the eye of the storm, calm, composed, and aware. This question changes the balance of power in a non-aggressive way. It changes the discourse from a battle of egos to a place of self-reflection. When someone talks about why something is important to them, they often start to think about themselves. They start to talk about their concerns or insecurities, which naturally makes animosity less strong. By focusing on understanding, you've successfully diffused a possible confrontation. Also, this method makes your personal Stoic practice stronger. You practice self-control, empathy, and patience while still being able to be detached. You learn how to tell the difference between the problem and the person who is making it seem like a problem. You can see that most conflicts aren't really about facts or logic. They're more about feelings, perceptions, and attachments that haven't been worked out. This question changes everything in everyday life. In the workplace, in relationships, or even in informal conflicts, asking, "Why does this matter to you so much?" can help you understand what's going on. It's not about winning. It's about finding the truth underlying feelings, reasons, and behaviors. So the next time someone is rude or defensive, take a break. Stay cool and look them in the eye. Ask, "Why is this so important to you?" You will often see a big change. Anger goes away, fights calm down, and things become clearer. The Stoics remind us that real strength isn't in being stronger than others. It is about being able to control yourself, lead conversations well, and be calm when things are going wrong. You show that strength by asking this question. You become steadfast, kind, and grounded, showing what it means to be a master of Stoicism in action. There will always be arguments, but anarchy only wins if you let it. These 5 questions are not weapons. They are shields. They keep you calm, show you the reality, and remind you that real strength is quiet, not loud. When you ask instead of attack, you change who has the most power. You become unbreakable. You stop acting like everyone else and start thinking like a philosopher. Marcus Aurelius reportedly stated, "The closer a man is to a calm mind, the stronger he is." Every dispute is a test of your calmness, not your expertise. Answer these questions to get through it with ease and clarity. Don't fight back the next time someone attempts to get you into trouble. Take a breath. Be smart when you ask, and let reason direct stillness to eliminate their noise.